Hi, I'm Christian Triola, author of The Missing Method for Guitar Books. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to play Have You Ever Seen the Rain by Creedence Clearwater Revival. Now this song was off their 1970 album Pendulum. Now the album came out in December of 1970, but this song wasn't released until the next month, which was also the next year, in 1971, January 1971. And it became, of course, a huge hit. Now, this song, I think, might be my favorite Creedence song, and I like a lot of their stuff. You know, the chord progressions are fairly simple, but the sound that they get and the mood that they set are just fantastic. You know, I just love listening to their songs. This one in particular has a great way of expressing sorrow, melancholy, with this underlying anger that you can just kind of feel in the song. And yet it's not an angry song. It's really, really well done. There's not tons to it, but what they do have just works perfectly. You just can't listen to it and not feel something. So let's get into it. First, let's take a look at all the chords that we'll be playing in the song, just to make sure you've got them all. Now, many of these chords are found in Chord Master Basic Chords. It's one of the books that we have by The Missing Method, by me basically, and you can find that on our website. So you can go there and check it out if you don't already have it. Or if you already know some basic chords and just want to learn this song, this video will be perfect for you. Either way, you can download the PDF that comes with this video, so don't forget to do that. It's got the song written out so that you can follow along. All right, so let's take a look at some of the chords. The first one we're going to play is A minor. So that's a very common chord. Chances are a lot of you know that one already. I'm just going to go through it quickly in case you don't. Your first string is played open. Second string, you want your index finger on that first fret. Third string, you want the third finger on the second fret, and then the middle finger goes on the fourth string, second fret, and you play 5 of the 6 strings. So that's our first chord, A minor. Now the next one is a little bit more difficult, and there's a lot of different variations that you can do, and the chord is F major. Now the F chord gives a lot of people trouble because it's a little bit difficult to get with that one finger across 2 strings. However, the version that they use in this song is the bar chord F. So to play that bar chord, your index finger goes across all 6 strings, but you don't push down all 6 strings. Then your middle finger goes on the second fret of the 3rd string. Your pinky goes on the 4th string, 3rd fret, and your third finger goes on the 5th string, 3rd fret. Then once you have all those in position, then you want to kind of squeeze that together. In fact, my thumb kind of pushes from the other side of the neck. So you get a nice big F major sound. Now for some reason, if you can't get that, I recommend doing the alternate version where you have your first finger on the 2nd string, 1st fret, your middle finger on the 3rd string, 2nd fret, your pinky on the 3rd fret of the 4th string, and then your third finger is on the 5th string, 3rd fret. And when you play those together, it's most of that chord, most of that bar chord. What's being left out is the F on the 1st string and the F on the last string. Now there's still an F in it, so because of that, it's going to sound like an F major chord. So you can hear it sounds pretty good. Here's the one that you would normally do, and here's the alternate version. You hear very similar chords there. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. The next chord is a basic C major. So again, first finger on the 2nd string, 1st fret, middle finger on the 4th string, 2nd fret, third finger goes on the 5th string, 3rd fret. There's C major. Next up, we have G major. Now chances are you've played G major if you're watching this video, but I'm going to go through it anyway, so that way you can see how I'm playing it in this song. Pinky goes on the 1st string, 3rd fret, third finger goes on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, then the next several strings are open, First finger goes on the 5th string 2nd fret, and the middle finger goes on the last string 3rd fret. So if I went through that pretty quickly, it is in the PDF as well, so you can always look it up there. But there's the G major chord. Now we also have in this song a couple of chords that aren't in the Guitar Chord Master book, so I want to go over those now. The first one is called C/B. What that means is you basically have a C chord, but instead of the lowest note being a C, it's now a B, which is the 2nd fret of that string. So to play that, you have to kind of switch some things around. Your first finger can stay in the same spot as it does for a C chord. Your 3rd finger now plays that note E, which is the 2nd fret of the 4th string. Then your middle finger is going to play the new note, the B note that we need on the 5th string 2nd fret. And then you strum everything except for that last string. So you can hear it clashes a little bit, but it makes sense in the music because the bass notes are going C, B, which is the change, A, G, down to F. And so when we get to that part of the song, that's what's happening. So that's why it sounds like that. All right, which brings us to our next chord, of course, and that is A minor/G. So for this one, just get A minor like we did before, and then reach your pinky up to the last string 3rd fret. And you have that sound. Now the G note isn't typically found in an A minor chord. It's technically A minor 7th. But it's the bass note that's really changing here. So I don't really consider it a 7th, even though it does have that sound just a little bit in there. So those are the chords that we have in the song. So we're going to go through each section of the song, intro, verse, and chorus, and I'm going to show you how to play them. So at the beginning of this video, I showed you how to play the intro. We have the A minor chord to start, and then our strumming pattern is going to follow 8th notes. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. However, on beat 2, or the second time we go down, we actually release the pressure to get a percussive strum. Now, if you have trouble with that, just strum through it, and the longer you play, the better you'll be able to get that percussive strum. Another way to get the percussive strum is with your picking hand. You actually hit the strings with the side of your hand right as you strum. So you'd have this kind of sound, chord, mute. Like that, so it's this hand doing the work. Sometimes that'll work a little bit better than releasing the pressure in the other hand. So find the way that works for you, and remember that happens on beat 2. So it's 1 and mute, and 1 and 2, and 3 and 4 and. All right, so that's measure 1, 1 and mute, and 3 and 4 and. Then we do the same thing with that F bar chord in the next measure. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then we go to C, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. G. Then when we get to the C chords at the end of the intro, we don't do that percussive strum anymore. You just strum it through as 8th notes, or down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Here's the whole intro one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that means we are now ready for the verse. Now the verse only includes 2 chords. We have C and we have G, so pretty easy. Now the strumming on this requires 2 percussive strum. The first one on beat 2, just like we did at the beginning. The next one is on beat 4. So we still play the and after that 4. So here's what it'll sound like. And for these chords, I tend to mute with the picking hand. For me, it just makes it a little bit easier. So down, up, mute, up, down, up, mute, up. And then we go into the next measure. So it almost feels like that next up is part of the next measure. It's not, but it kind of feels like it when you're playing it. So here is the first line of the verse. We have 4 measures of C major, all strummed the same way. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Now, when you see it on the PDF, there's going to be rests there where you're hitting those percussive strums. That's only because the program I was using didn't have an option for percussive strums. So instead of resting, hit those as percussives. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the last part, the chorus, and this is where we're using those slash chords that we were talking about earlier. So the first measure of the chorus uses the F major chord, and we have a percussive strum on beat 2 like we've had for most of the song, but not on beat 4, so it's different from the verse in that way. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then we switch to G, same thing. And now we get to the part where the bass notes descend. So we start with C major, we play it down, up, down, up. Then we switch to C major slash B, and again, down, up, down, up. Then we take that, move it to A minor, and you can do that easily just by moving these 2 middle fingers over a string, and again, down, up, down, up. Then throw the pinky down for the slash G, and that finishes out that line. So from the C chord, so that part may take some time to practice. Now, if you just want to play the song quickly and you don't have time to practice that, just play C all the way through and then A minor all the way through. So you'd have... It still sounds like the song. It's not quite the same, but it's pretty close. So that's an option you have there. Now the second line of the chorus does exactly the same thing. We start with that F. And that takes us to the last line of the chorus. So we start again with the F, goes to the G, we're still hitting that percussive strum on beat 2, and then it changes from there. So there's a little bit of a difference in that third line. So we have F, and then it goes to a C, where we have down, up, down, down, up, down, up, and then we have one full measure of C, just eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So here's the whole last line of the chorus. All right, and you might notice too that my thumb kind of comes up and around, which usually you don't want to do when you're strumming. But in this case, it kind of helps mute that last string so that C note really comes through there. And it doesn't kind of ring through on the guitar. Okay, so we've looked at the intro, we've looked at the verse, we've looked at the chorus. Now in the song, you have an intro, verse, verse, and then chorus. And then it does that again where you have 2 verses before the chorus. And then at the end, there's an outro. And the outro is almost exactly like the chorus, except for the last couple of measures. So first I'm going to play through the whole chorus, and then we're going to take a look at the outro. So again, here's the chorus. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Now, like I mentioned earlier, that outro is almost exactly the same, so we're going to take a look at that next. Okay, so on the outro, we start with the F major chord, just like in the chorus, go to the G, go through that descending bass line, and then we do that twice, just like in the chorus, and then the very last line is where we have our biggest difference. Now, it's similar up until the last two measures. For the first chord of the last line, the F, just as before, the G just as before, then the C just as before with the down, up, down, down, up, down, up, and then we have one G chord that's held, and then the final C chord. And that's it, that's the only difference there. So I'm going to go ahead and play through the whole outro so you can hear what that sounds like together. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And there you go. Now you have all the elements that you need to go and put that song together. Intro, verse, verse again, chorus, verse, verse, chorus, outro, and then you can play Have You Ever Seen the Rain? All right, so I hope you enjoyed that lesson. I have several other videos that show you how to strum along with popular songs. I usually label them how to play and then put the song names in there, such as About a Girl by Nirvana, Runaway Train by Soul Asylum, Hurt by Johnny Cash, just to name a few. There are other ones on there too. Probably our most popular right now is Hotel Yorba by the White Stripe. So check those out. That kind of takes you through step by step on how to strum those, and we'll be putting out more, of course, in the future. So if you enjoyed this lesson, make sure you let me know. Either give me a thumbs up or subscribe, or do both if you want. And then head over to themissingmethod.com. You can find out more about our books. We have books on chords, technique, and note reading, and practicing. So definitely check that out, and maybe you can find something that can help your playing. Also, when you're on the website, if you sign up for our newsletter, which comes out about once a month, you'll get a free ebook, so don't forget about that. All right, well, enjoy the tunes and keep practicing.